Thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member. Welcome back,
Thank you.
Commissioner. I'm going to bring up a topic that you and I have talked about before. I am really concerned about the proliferation of mislabeled products in the marketplace that are using dairy's good name, but have absolutely no dairy ingredients. These products are violating the Food and Drug Administration's existing regulations, and they're getting away with it because of inaction by the agency. It's a matter of fairness to the farmers and dairy producers and processors who I have worked with over many years. It's a fairness. They market their dairy products using dairy terms. Farmers must meet exacting standards for the content of the milk they deliver. The processors abide by specific requirements for things like butterfat content that ensure that when a consumer selects a certain dairy product, they know what they are getting and that it will perform in recipes as expected. Imitation products should not be able to use dairy's good name when they are doing none of the things required to use that label. Now, the omnibus legislation that we passed included yet another instance of congressional direction on this issue, and it's time for the FDA to act. So I first want to ask you, what is FDA doing to enforce existing standards of identity for dairy products?
Well, I appreciate the question, Senator. I announced about 3 weeks ago that we'll be issuing a request for information related to our overall approach to standards of identity, and we're committed to taking a fresh look about what we're doing here. You're right that milk is defined in the current standard of identity as being something from a lactating animal, and people have been using the term on things that aren't derived from a lactating animal, as you and I will agree. But FDA having not stepped into this in the past, there's now a lot of commercial activity going on. I think where we're going to be looking in particular, and where I would like to see information to the extent people can contribute to our dialogue on this and inform us. You mentioned this is an issue of fairness. I wouldn't dispute that, but it's also a question of public health from our standpoint. And if consumers are being confused or misled about the nutritional status or quality of milk because of the way certain products are being labeled, that's something we would want to take a look at, and that's something that would certainly inform the decisions we make here. So we will be issuing an RFI. That is an opportunity for us to collect information that could form the basis of regulatory action here.
So I just have to comment, and I view this as an urgent issue. This could be addressed right away if the FDA issued guidance to industry and declared its intent to enforce existing regulations. Do you agree that you have the authority to proceed based on your existing regulations?
I think that we would want to develop a careful administrative record here. There are issues. Look, I'm not a lawyer, but a lot of the physicians at FDA talk about the law, so I will take liberties here as well. We've exercised enforcement discretion for a period of time now that for us to reverse our current posture might take more than just issuing guidance. We might want to develop a careful administrative record informed by data, and that is the intent of the RFI, which is to collect information that can inform a substantial administrative record that would sustain review.
So I would say for the record that I do not believe that there needs to be further review or study. What we need is the FDA to act and issue guidance on enforcement of its existing dairy standards of identity. Our dairy farmers are in crisis right now. They are seeing very, very challenging times. The price of milk has been low for quite some time, the price that our farmers are paid. Some of the Farm Bill risk management tools that have been passed aren't working the way we hope they would, and I hope will work. I'm sure we'll work all together to adjust that. The trade negotiations that are going on right now have an impact and some uncertainty with regard to export markets for our dairy farmers. Canadian pricing of a certain class of milk is causing additional injury. I'm not saying this is the problem in totality. What I'm saying is that there's a perfect storm of challenges to the dairy industry right now in my state. And when I have to explain what the Dairy Pride Act is, that it is a measure, I just can't tell you how absurd this sounds outside the Beltway, that it is a measure to ask an agency that's not following its own rules and that could be solved if the agency simply follows its own rules.
Well, I will affirm to you, Senator, that I've actively stepped into this issue, and I hear your concerns. I appreciate your concerns. We are taking a very close and fresh look at this.
Thank you.